Going on, everyone? Today we're here with TC Carson. Now, many of you know him from the Living Single show, which was very popular, definitely during the time where I was growing up. You've seen him in definitely many movies and television shows after that, and we welcome him to join us on the show today. So, TC, thank you for joining us on the show today.
Oh, thank you for having me, brother.
So, TC, could you tell us a little bit how you got into acting before we all saw you in Living Single?
Well, I grew up in Chicago in the projects, and in grade school they had a program called the Title VI program, and the Title VI program brought music and art and dance and theater to inner city kids at school. And that's where I first started doing acting and singing and dancing. And then went to high school, and we had our own black theater group called the Black Thespians of Argo. And we wrote our own plays, and we actually went to different high schools and colleges and did our work. And then when I went to college, I did more music with the Black Chorus and the opera, and I had a couple of bands that I played with, the jazz band and a top 40s kind of R&B band. And then I got to Chicago and started doing more theater. Musical theater first, and then more legit straight theater after that, and that led to auditioning for film and television.
So I heard you mention that you grew up in Chicago. We hear the term Chicago being mentioned all the time today. I mean, what was the difference with Chicago when you were growing up versus today? I mean, was it a breakdown of the family? I mean, what do you think caused some of those issues?
I just think it's the way our neighborhoods have been systematically given less than. Our schools in our neighborhoods have been systematically given less than. We get less than as far as food. We get less than as far as services. And after a while, that wears on people. People get tired of that. When I grew up in the projects, it was the projects, but it wasn't the high-rise projects. It was the tallest building was maybe 2-3 stories. And it was a different energy. People felt more like homeowners. They had more of an investment in their community. And I think that we're paying for a lot of babies having babies,
mm-hmm.
and we don't have the village like we used to have.
So do you feel that the Clinton crime bill in '94 had a big impact in Chicago?
I think it had a big impact across the country. I think it had a big impact across the country. When they talk about war on crime and war on drugs, and all, it was directly aimed at people of color. None of this was aimed at the other population. All this was aimed at people of color. And prisons are big business. Prisons are big business. So, it's a different type of slavery nowadays. It's a different model, but it still is slavery. You still are incarcerating black and brown people, and you're putting them to work.
Correct. And I remember, due to that, you say a lot of people got hauled into the system. It's when the crack epidemic happened, and I'm pretty sure you've seen it as much as I've seen it. Today you have an opioid epidemic. And
everybody's up in arms about it. Everybody's trying to do something about it, but that's because it's affecting a different population.
Correct.
I guarantee you, if that was affecting us like it's affecting them, they wouldn't be so adamant about doing something to stop it. And that's just the reality of the country we live in.
And they fashion it as a medical issue, but when our families, and I've had family members that had got on it and also went to jail, they didn't say they had a medical issue. They said it was criminal and that 100-to-1 sentence ratio. So this is why it's just, and it destroyed, like you said, it destroyed a lot of families, and they're not taking that into consideration when they talk about Chicago. You took a lot of men out the home and have
Absolutely.
them in jail 20 and 30 years for one rock, not being a dealer, but just being a user with a medical condition. And that's why, places like Chicago, Houston, or whatever other places, it's gotten progressively worse.
Yep, absolutely.
So today in Chicago, do you go back out there and try to maybe help some of the kids get into acting?
I haven't been to Chicago in a minute. I have relocated to Atlanta, so it's taken me a minute to get myself settled here in ATL. So I haven't been back and forth, and my mom is not here anymore, and so I don't go to Chicago as often as I used to.
I'm pretty glad that you made something of yourself. You know that you fought through all the circumstances, and that you're educated, brother. You know, and that's just an awesome thing to hear, just for us. Now, your current work. Let's talk about that. What are you currently doing?
Well, I've been doing a lot of guest spots here in Atlanta. I had a guest spot on Black Lightning, and I was just on the Quad, and just got booked on a reoccurring for Star, and I'll have a reoccurring for Greenleaf. So I'm down here working, film and television as best I can, but I'm really focusing on my music. And I have a great jazz band trio here. We just went into the studio and recorded a live CD that we're in the process of mixing down and mastering. And that we'll start rolling music out sometime late summer, and it should be released sometime this fall.
Okay, so you say a jazz band. Like, are you singing or are you playing instruments?
I'm singing.
Jazz is good music, R&B is good music, and today we really need some good music, brother, because what I hear, I don't even listen to the radio no more, beyond which I don't see how they even listen to some of that. And Atlanta is a major hub for the music.
Yeah, I understand. I understand your trepidation about listening to music on the radio nowadays. It's kind of sad because R&B has turned into R&S, which is rhythm and sex. It's very bass, and it's very unimaginative and uninspired. And that makes me a little sad because we need to understand as a culture how the world runs on what we do. And when we dumb it down, we're not serving anybody. Not us, not the world. So when I hear the music today and it's only two chords, and they're talking about screwing and really talking about screwing. There's no double entendre. There's no flowery language about it. They want you to get on the bed and toot it up in the air. That's how they put it. And this is music today. It makes me sad because I know young people are listening to this and they have no frame of reference for anything else. So this is what they think music is. And I'm sorry, it's not. Not for me anyway.
Well, we came up in an era where you had great music. When you had R&B music, it was love music you could actually sit down and listen to, with your lady, with your wife, and it actually speak to that. Now, like you said, it's nothing, when R. Kelly kind of came up and he started kind of putting his spin on it, but he still made true R&B music as well. And it's like they don't really play R&B on the radio anymore. That's why I just can't listen to the radio. I'm always on XM.
It's an interesting time, but there are musicians that are out doing good music, like people like Lettucey, like Raheem Devon. What's my other brother's name? I can't think of my other brother's name. Robert Glasper.
Mm-hmm.
They're making music. So it's not everybody, but it's the thing that gets pushed at us. That is, and it's always been that way. It's never the art that gets pushed at us. It's the easy thing that gets pushed at us. It's the thing that keeps us in a certain place that gets pushed at us by the powers that be.
Correct. So how can people get in contact with you with the music? Because I know some people, they're going to hear that and they're going to say, where can we go to hear it first? Or, is it a SoundCloud? And what do you guys have for that?
Well, my first two albums are available on Amazon, Spotify, Apple, iTunes, all that stuff. The first two albums. First one's called Truth, and the second one is called TC Carson Live in Beverly Hills. You can also see video and concert footage on my YouTube channel, which is official TC Carson. And we'll always put upcoming work and gigs coming up on the YouTube page, not the YouTube page, I'm sorry, the Facebook page, and on my Instagram. And both of those are official TC Carson.
All right, we'll make sure to put that in the pinned comment. But I have one more question for you before we wrap up. They doing a lot of reboots already. You see Roseanne rebooting, Martin rebooting, and I just have to ask you this question: have they been any discussions with you about either Living Single reunion or a reboot?
There have been discussions, just not with me.
Okay. All right, because a lot of people asking, it's like, are they running out of ideas? Is why they rebooting these shows? I'm just asking.
Well, again, they go to what's easy. It's easier to reboot something than to create something new.
So basically, they run out of ideas.
The template is already there. You already know what it is. You already know what the characters are. You just got to plug them in.
Yes, sir.
That's easier than creating a whole new thing. And people want to. I mean, it was a time period where people enjoyed that type of television, and they kind of want that again.
Well, it was some great television. It was clean. It made us laugh. Trust me, I couldn't wait for Thursday nights on Fox. You know what I mean? Your show, Martin, you guys made Fox for what it is. So and they have to give you guys credit.
Well, no, I mean, but Fox was built on the backs of African American actors and black TV, and when they got their numbers up, they dropped us. It's just. But they're not the first one. UPN, the same thing. So again, when we understand our power, when we understand what we have and stop giving it away and use it for our good, then we'll be doing something. But we're still taught to give it away. We're still taught that it won't work unless you give it to somebody else for them to do it. That's why we talk to our young people and get them to understand that this is a great time for entrepreneurship. This is a great time for filmmakers and artists because you can cut out the middleman. You can get your product directly to the consumer and you can make your money, your voice.
And that's why the powers that be cannot stand today, in which I love it. It's a wide open lane for people to do for themselves. So, TC, I definitely thank you for joining us today on the show. You gave us some knowledge that we really needed. And ladies and gentlemen, he gave you the answer about a Living Single reboot. So is it possible? We don't know. You may see one next year. Who knows? But TC, you have a great day, man, out there in Atlanta. And stay blessed and be successful, brother, in that album.
You as well, brother. Thank you so much for the time.
Well, thank you.